So this is going to be a very short video talking about this guy Andrew Pierce saying that German Chancellor Angela Merkel bows out tomorrow after 15 years in power, having delivered Brexit because of her refusal to do a deal with David Cameron. For that part of her reign, we should be grateful. So this guy directly blaming Angela Merkel for Brexit, essentially. Now, let's think about this, right? Did Angela Merkel call for the referendum? No. Blaming Angela Merkel for a lack of compromise when there were 26 other EU members who would also have to call for a compromise, given that the UK also got one of the best deals in the EU because of the rebate we had. We weren't part of Schengen, which is something you can look at as a positive or negative, but I'm sure there were many Brexiteers who would have been definitely against Schengen and other things. So I think per capita, Norway actually pays in more to the EU than the UK does. Despite the fact that we have voting rights in the EU, we have a veto. The UK played a key part in crafting EU legislation. We were the ones who called for a ban on third country shellfish to benefit our own shellfish producers. So this guy, Andrew Pierce, absolutely no clue what he's talking about. He works for the Daily Mail, shock, but he also has a radio slot on LBC. Like, why you guys, LBC honestly hires some of the most whack people I have ever actually seen on radio, honestly. Because even the lefties aren't that great either, to be honest. The so-called lefties, centre-left guy I can think of, he's not that great either. Point being is that blaming Angela Merkel, saying Angela Merkel is the one who delivered Brexit is simply not the case. Unfortunately, it was the Vote Leave gang, it was Dominic Cummings and Nigel Farage who gave undiluted absolute rubbish on the media. The media did not bother to fact check them. The media did a rubbish job. The BBC gave, Nigel Farage a season pass on Newsnight. Where is Nigel Farage now? He's there talking in the wind on GBBs, wherever they call it, GB News. So this guy, Andrew Pierce, he's done this for clout, really. He's done this for clout. Maybe I've given him what he wanted, some more free publicity, but this guy is an absolute joker, honestly. And you can tell, newspapers like the Daily Mail just exist to really trigger people. They don't do a great job as is. It's a joke to call them a newspaper, to be fair, because they don't really give you news. It's a propaganda paper, really. But this guy, imagine blaming Angela Merkel. Not to say Angela Merkel hasn't made a lot of mistakes. She definitely has when it came to how they dealt with Greece and the Eurozone crisis, the immigration crisis or asylum seekers coming from the Middle East. That was an absolute disaster. So Angela Merkel isn't perfect, but when you're in politics for 15 years, when you're in charge of a country for around 15 years, you're going to make a lot of mistakes, especially given how turbulent the last decade was. When you consider we had the '08 financial crash, you had absolute chaos in the Middle East with the the Arab Springs popping up all over the place, multiple countries going through revolts and revolutions. You're going to have a lot of chaos, but she dealt with the chaos over the last decade far better than a lot of other governments have. Germany economically is done okay. You could say that, okay isn't great compared to German standards. Germany is the fourth biggest economy in the world, but she has kept them there. Whilst if you look at the UK, we've dropped from 6th to 7th. That's not great, is it? And we might drop even further, depending on how well India and other countries do, and depending on what metrics you use. So to blame Angela Merkel in a very turbulent and changing world here, considering that Germany was a really bad loser, I think, in the kind of conflict, the East-West conflict with Russia. Germany did a lot of trade with Russia, especially when it came to things like energy, and that had to be cut off once the Russians invaded Ukraine. So to blame Angela Merkel for Brexit and other issues is just a joke, to be honest. No politician is perfect. No one's worth idolising. But at the same time, for Germany, has she done a good job? Yeah, probably. I mean, I'm not German. It's kind of hard for me to comment on this. But to blame Angela Merkel for Brexit is just ridiculous, honestly. So, yeah, him saying that it was that deal that David Cameron got was the issue that caused Brexit. It really wasn't. It was a non-issue, really. It's something to do with you can't claim benefits if you're an EU citizen who's only lived in the UK for a certain amount of time. Other EU countries have already done that. Other EU countries have registers where if you go there and you intend to work and live there, you have to register in that country to pay taxes. But also, I think if you lose your job and you can't function financially, they can get you to leave the country. The UK could have done stuff like that to stop so-called benefit cheats, but the UK chose not to, because we needed a lot of immigration to push the economy, to keep it growing. And you're seeing that now, where we don't have enough people to fill the vacancies we have. So yeah, sorry, I've gone off on a bit of a tangent there. How long is this video? A lot longer than I intended to be, but this guy Andrew Pierce, no one should ever take him seriously, so-called journalist. But anyways, look, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, support on Patreon if you can, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.